Welcome to Basic Stitches Stitch with Us. I'm Jamie. You can find me on Instagram as Jamie X Stitch.
And I'm Jordan. I'm on Instagram at LittleStitchGirl94.
Today I'm going to be stitching on our Up and Away Sal, which is our hashtag basic up and away. And I have not had any more progress on this since last time you guys saw it. But it is by Cottage Needleworks. And Jordan.
And I'll be stitching on Bless Our Home by Country Cottage Needleworks. And it's the PC Bless Our Home stitch along.
With Priscilla and Chelsea.
Yes.
So, we had a few comments from our last video that we thought would comment on. There was just a couple. Well, there was a lot of comments, but a couple that made me laugh. One of them was from Crystal Gamberling. How do you say? Can you see that?
Gimberling?
Yeah, I'm sorry if we're slaughtering your last name.
Assuming my mom typed it right in her notes.
I did. I swear I did. She said her favorite chick flick was You've Got Mail, and I don't know how I forgot to mention that one. That is also one of mine and your grandma's favorite chick flicks as well. As a matter of fact, the flowers on here I've changed to daisies, and I also did that with the PC Bless Our Home. And I love daisies. They're my favorite flower, and there's a line in there about that they're just the nicest flower. They are the nicest flower. I think it's been a while since I've watched it, but anyway, Tom Hanks brings her flowers when she's sick, and it was daisies, and they're her favorite. And yes, I love the movie. And then Maine Moose Mom Stitcher. She also hated Princess Bride. Somebody else.
You're probably the only two in the world.
No, I don't believe that. But she also said that her favorite comedy is The Jerk. And my husband loves The Jerk. I love it. I like it. I think it's funny. But the one I like more, it's an older one. It has Steve Martin in it. The Jerk, for those that don't know. But then another one that was done back in that time frame, and it has Steve Martin and Lily Tomlin in it, was All of Me. And that one is hilarious. I like that one probably more than The Jerk, but I still like The Jerk. Anyway, they're great. Good humor. So.
And then Sasha Martz had commented in our 5th video that we should talk about some TV shows that we like and are excited to return like next season. But we're just going to talk about our favorite TV shows and stuff. But before we get into that, if there's anything that you think would be fun to talk about or any questions you have for us, leave them in the comments so that we have more stuff to talk about in future Stitch With Me's, because Sasha gave us a few ideas, but now we're kind of running out.
I know. There is also the...
Oh, there's also another tag that we're going to do.
Yeah, and it's been done quite a bit on FlossTube, but it's the Emily C. one we said would do. But still, we want to know what you want to hear, what kind of stuff you guys like or you have questions about. It's always fun. So, and I enjoy reading your comments. I appreciate all of them.
And I love seeing like the people that are stitching with us, and especially I think it might have been 2 videos ago, we were both stitching Bless Our Home. Mm-hmm. And there were several people that were also stitching that as they were watching. And it was really fun to have like, oh, there went my pattern. To have all of us stitching together.
And your highlighter and your threads.
Everything went flying.
Yeah, that's fun to be all stitching together. And we do stitch a lot. We did have a question, and wish I could remember the name right now. Someone asked if we always stitch the same things. We do have some similar tastes in things that we cross stitch, and so we do them. You know, obviously, if one of us does it, we're like, oh, I want to do that too. You know.
Yeah, we give each other stitch envy.
Right. But there are things that Jordan's stitching that I'm not stitching, like her Alice in Wonderland, Brooks books. I love it, but Alice in Wonderland, it's her thing, not mine. So, you know, I'm not going to stitch that one. There's a few things I've stitched that you probably don't care to.
Yeah.
But there's some of the stitch alongs, I mean, they're Sal's with multiple people, not just each other, but
A lot of the time when we do stitch alongs, though, we both do them.
yeah. So anyway, it is fun to have stitched together.
I also enjoy stitching the same thing as each other, just because then I can make it a race.
And that is definitely you. You are that person.
Just between the two of us, because we're both really competitive.
Mm-hmm.
But you won with Bless Our
I was
Home.
gonna say, my Bless Our Home is actually done. Because usually you're winning. But that's okay. I get him done eventually. Like summer. I might get done eventually. Just kidding.
Hopefully one day.
Grandma was here just the other day and she saw, we were talking about stuff and I held up my summer and she's like, you haven't finished that yet? I thought you were done with it. Oh, no, not yet. Goodness.
You'll get there.
Yeah.
Probably next summer.
Ha ha ha. Hilarious. So what, if you had one, what would your all-time favorite TV series be?
I feel like you've got to ask me like a genre again. Like,
No.
Same as movies.
Okay, so mine, all-time, can you guess what it is?
Yeah.
What?
Friends.
Always. Always Friends. I can refer anything back to Friends if you'd like me to. And I might mess it up along the way, but I do finally get there.
I think my favorite, can you guess mine?
What is yours?
Can you guess it?
It's either Friends or How I Met Your Mother. No?
No,
Neither?
neither.
Psych?
Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore! How did I get that? Oh my gosh. I can't believe I didn't guess that for you.
I love Gilmore Girls.
Yes, you do. I enjoy it, but Friends is my number one. But yeah, I do like Gilmore Girls. I've watched it multiple times.
I can't even count how many times I've watched it.
That's how I am with Friends.
Friends, I can't count how many times I've watched because I turn on reruns like on TBS or whatever show it's on or channel it's on and just watch it, and I can pick right back up with the story wherever they are.
Right.
But yeah, I have no idea like how many times I've watched it because I've watched so many episodes just out of order.
Yeah. And that way also another one is Big Bang Theory. It's on all the time, and we watch them currently as they come out, and then we also watch the reruns on TV all the time for 3 hours straight.
We have the DVDs for the first 2 seasons to sit and watch, but with packing and everything, we haven't really had much time.
Oh, my extra threads are caught. So those are like sitcom comedy.
Well, Gilmore Girls isn't.
Oh, that's true.
My favorite sitcom probably changes based on what I'm currently watching. But right now, Alex and I have been watching Happy Endings, which is hilarious.
You've told me about that one, but I have not seen it.
You need to watch it. It's a really funny like group of friends sitcom, like how so many are. It was canceled way too early. I also love Parks and Rec.
I have not watched that either.
It's so funny. Mostly just, I like watching Chris Pratt, but I could watch anything with Chris Pratt and be happy.
Let's see, series that I'm caught up on. Oh, that I like, well, okay, so your dad and I have watched all of Game of Thrones. So good, so intense, so much storyline, and all the multiple kingdoms, and I mean all the different kingdoms inside the one to keep up on. Yeah.
I've watched like the
It's
first
good.
3 episodes of Game of Thrones.
It's
all.
the story. It's good. I was just gonna think we've binge watched a lot. Things that I haven't caught, like one that I really liked that we just been watched on Netflix was Longmire. I never saw it when it was on TV, and then apparently it went off TV, and then the last couple seasons
On
were
Netflix.
Netflix. Yeah, and it was really good. We really liked that one.
Another show that's done that I've really liked is Arrested Development.
And I haven't seen any of those. What is up?
The first 3 seasons are awesome. The 4th season, which is the first one that was on Netflix, was awful. But they just released season 5, and I've heard good things about that. So I need to watch it, but life's been a little crazy.
Sorry, I was just thinking back in the day, my sister and I used to watch the original 90210 together.
I've watched the newer 90210.
I have not. I watched the original with Tori Spelling and Jenny Garth and Shannon Doherty. Is that how you say her name? Something like that. The woman that gets kicked off every show she's on because she's ornery to work with, apparently. But I was trying to think like retro back in the day shows.
I've watched Seinfeld, Cheers, Three's
Sein-
Company.
Seinfeld is a classic. And do you know how many comparisons? Me and your dad did this one time. We was talking about like and we sat and compared Seinfeld to Friends.
Well, Friends was kind of the successor to Seinfeld
Yeah,
in having like the group of friends in their
they
30s,
live across the hall from each
living
other.
really close to each other, having like in Seinfeld they had a cafe.
Yeah,
in
Friends had
Friends
the coffee
they had
shop.
the coffee shop.
The
And
two
then
that
in
had
How I Met Your Mother later, they had the bar.
How they had dated, because Elaine and Jerry originally had dated, and then they were just friends. And then, you know, Friends, obviously, they have Chandler and Monica, the Ross and Rachel. Anyway, there's a lot of similarities.
It's a really popular type of show, and I think most people consider Cheers to be the first show like that. That was like a friend group sitcom.
Well, it was a friend group sitcom, but they didn't live. I mean, they met up at the bar every day.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of lushes. Just kidding.
But like as
One of my
subgenre.
favorite parts on Cheers is when Norm walks in the bar. And they all yell, "Norm!" Anyway.
And then How I Met Your Mother was after Friends. And then we haven't really had a new one. And my friend was kind of speculating because, like, they're always just a group of, like, about 30-year-old adults that are trying to get their life together. And he assumed that it's probably because the writers are about 30 years old. And so they're writing with, like, all their references and everything, which is why it, like, fits an age group.
It's just, and it's stuff that everybody can relate to, because even if you are past it, you remember those times of your life.
Yeah.
Or even if you are younger, you're going into those times of your life, or you're in it.
but he thinks that the next show like that is going to be like people our age, because we're getting to that point. Given he's like 4 years older than me, he's exactly 4 years older than me. We have the same birthday, but it's weird to think that like I've watched these shows for years. I mean, I've watched Friends probably since I was born, because it started the year I was born.
Yeah, and I've watched it right from the get-go.
And it's weird to think that all these people that I've watched on TV that have been so much older than me one day are going to be the same age as me.
Well, your dad's the same age as Jennifer Aniston. In real life. Just saying.
My mother-in-law is the same age as Courtney Cox.
Do you happen to have your needle threader?
I don't.
Nor do I. I just accidentally pulled my thread out and I need something. Trying to think of other genres. Oh, so obviously, Jordan, you loved this one. I watched it, but I fell off the last few seasons. I think it's still even going.
Grace.
I think it's been going for like 20 years now. Grace.
It's on season 14.
Oh, okay.
Okay, these are the bad ones. Sorry, we're just gonna go through and try to do this. I don't know where the good one is.
Let me. I'll wing it. I'll try it. Ooh, those are thin.
They're sharp. They might shred your thread. Yeah, I've still been watching Grey's. I just feel like at this point, I've made it 14 seasons. I'm not a quitter. I can't stop until it's over.
Apparently I'm a quitter because I gave up. Hey, I did it and it didn't even rip it. But see, this is why I should stitch in the well, because then I have to roll this. Yes, you're seeing the back of my work. Having a stitchy moment, people.
Right now, well, just the other night, I started watching The Handmaid's Tale on Hulu.
I don't even know who's in that one.
Alexis Bledel is in it.
Oh. Otherwise, AKA Rory, Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, she's a very minor character, but she's in it. My husband took a class. He had to take like one more English class in order to graduate. And so he had a class that was dystopian literature. Dad just turned the TV up way loud.
Or the Avengers or whatever he's watching out loud.
So, sorry that you're hearing that too. One of the books that he had to read for the dystopian literature class was The Handmaid's Tale, and he actually really hated it. But then they made it into a TV show, and I know a lot of friends that I have that have liked it, and I think they've enjoyed it for different reasons than I do. But I figured it might be worth the watch, especially because it was a night that I couldn't sleep. So I watched the first 4 episodes and ended up going to sleep at like 6 o'clock in the morning. So.
Goodness. I remember back when I used to do that. Now I got old and I can't stay up like I used to, but I'm awake bright and early.
It like hit Alex once he turned, how old is he now, 28?
Mm-hmm.
It was like once he turned 27. It was just like suddenly midnight hit and he was like asleep. And I can still stay up and do stuff and be fine. I mean, I went to bed at 6 in the morning and I woke up at 9 ready to go and was fine.
When was that? So you got like 3 hours sleep and you're fine?
Yeah, that was like 2 nights ago.
I'm not fine with that much sleep. That's when, yeah, the not friendly Jamie comes out. I feel like there's like so many shows that I'm forgetting here. Oh, I loved ER back in the day. Had George Clooney in it.
I remember you watching
And
it. But
Anthony, I can't think of his last name.
we both watched Desperate Housewives.
Oh my gosh. I never, when I restarted it, I've never finished it. I think your dad and I got into watching something else. But I watched it when it was original on TV. It was great.
I remember because it was on Sunday nights.
Yep. When it was originally on.
And we'd go over to Grandma and Grandpa's house for like Sunday dinner. And would be downstairs playing, and everyone would be upstairs just talking. All the adults would be. And then suddenly it was like, and this is before the days of like DVR or streaming services or any of that. And it would be suddenly like, clean up, we've got to go. Desperate Housewives going to be on. We're going to miss it.
I think that's even back in the time period when we lived there while we were building our house, wasn't it?
Possibly.
I want
Maybe
to say
some
it
of the
was.
earlier seasons it was.
Yeah. That's funny. But yes, we watched Desperate Housewives. It was a good one, I felt like.
It was so dramatic.
Well, yeah.
I go kind of crazy watching some shows, like Desperate Housewives is one, and Grey's Anatomy is another, where it's like, would you please just stop making such terrible choices?
Right.
Like, if you would make good choices, none of this would happen. None of you would be so miserable. But I mean, if they did that, then it would be a really
make a
boring
good TV show? I mean, come on.
One show I really like, that's another one you haven't watched because you just don't listen to my recommendations apparently, is This Is Us. I think I cry every week watching it.
See, I cry anyway. Do I really need to watch something to make myself cry?
Good. Because like
I see commercials and I cry.
it's sometimes they make like dumb choices, but usually it's just like life is difficult in some ways. And it's just this family dealing with life. And I mean, there's the drama and stuff, but it's just like, I don't know, I love it.
It's another one I watched for a little while, and this is gonna be funny, but I did fall off and I didn't finish the series. It was Vampire Diaries.
Oh, I finished that one once it was all on Netflix.
Yeah. No, it was good for the first while. Did it
I
end well?
miss Damon.
I mean, Elena was gone.
The last season wasn't great, but the ending was fine.
Okay. One that you mentioned that we skipped over that I love, and we actually, your dad and I refer to quite a bit, is
Three's Company.
Three's Company. I watched that, all of them probably, and that was way before DVR.
I turned it on. I was at my in-laws, and I couldn't sleep. Stayed up all night chatting with my brother-in-law, and then he left to go to his mom's house to watch the royal wedding. And so then I still couldn't sleep, so I went and sat downstairs, and this is as my mom was waking up to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
And we both sat and watched the royal wedding while she was getting ready, and were texting.
Yeah.
But then it was over. And so I was like looking through the cable because I don't have cable. And saw Three's Company and turned it on. And after going from like the royal wedding that's being streamed live and is like new cameras and stuff, Three's Company was like super old.
Talk about the 70s. There you go. Oh, it was great though. When I say my husband, I refer to it. The thing that it's usually said is that we have a Mr. Roper moment, because Mr. Roper, he was an eavesdropping person, and then he would always hear something,
and it had like a double innuendo type thing, and he would take it naughty when it was versus like the innocent way. And yeah, it was funny show.
If you listen really closely, I'm not sure if it'll pick up on the camera. My dad's snoring downstairs.
Before you said that, I was gonna say something. John Ritter, come on,
I miss him.
he was a great comedic actor.
His son, Jason,
I think you're right.
Jack, I think it's Jason, was in a show called Kevin Probably Saves the World. And it ran for one season, just like this last TV season. And my husband and I watched it and thoroughly enjoyed it, and then it was canceled.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
What's newer ones? Can you think of any newer ones that you've watched, like because you watch it on Hulu?
The Good Place is amazing.
I watched a season of that and then I fell off of it.
I feel like you probably didn't watch it the right way. Because you tend to turn TV on and just kind of watch what's on, don't you? And it's one that you have to watch, like, in order, because it's not very episodic in its plot lines. It's super funny. We love that. Superstore is also one that's on.
See, that's
on
another
NBC.
one we started and fell off of.
Oh
Is
my
that
gosh,
still
it's
going?
so funny. I love Superstore.
And part of our problem is that we're constantly changing our TV providers because to get the better rate. And so then when you change, you lose all your recordings and you lose all your presets.
And we watch everything that we watch on Netflix and Hulu because we don't have cable. We had Sling for a little while, which the commercials for Sling are hilarious.
They
if you haven't
are.
seen them.
I mean, come on.
Just search YouTube for the Sling commercials. And we had that for a little while, and we just canceled it because we're moving, and so we were trying to save a little bit of money while we're in the stages of moving. But pretty much all we really watched on that was Game Show Network. We watched a lot of Family Feud, Chase, Cash Cab. There's a new one called America Says that's hosted by John Michael Higgins. It's pretty funny. We watch a lot of game shows.
You are gaming people.
I really like World of Dance. It's hosted by J-Lo. J-Lo is one of the judges. She's also, I think, the executive producer of it. And Derek Huff and Neo. And then I think the host is Jenna Dewan, that was married to Channing Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty cool. It's like all the best dancers in the world competing for $1 million. But they're like crazy talented. And there's a kid from American Fork that's on it this year. That American Fork is like right by where my in-laws live. And he's like a 16-year-old kid from there. And there's a couple dancing that I think are from, they didn't say where, but they're from somewhere in Utah. It's cool to see, like, because there's people from all over the world on the show. People competing from Russia and Korea and Brazil and like all over. And it's cool to see when there's people from nearby.
I'm struggling to count. You're talking and I can feel you keep looking at me and I'm over here like 1, 2.
Well, she's sitting here like not listening to me, so I'm looking at her trying to figure out what's going on.
I'm trying to count. Counting's hard. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see.
We really liked Great News. That was another one that was on NBC.
I can't see my pattern where it's at.
It's like Thursday nights on NBC, and it had Superstore and The Good Place. Is it Will and Grace that was just renewed by NBC?
Yeah.
That was on there, and then also Great News. And we really liked Great News, but it was canceled this most recent season. We love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And that was canceled by Fox and then picked up by NBC. So we're excited for that to come back. I love New Girl. That just ended for good.
I'm still counting. I think I've messed up somewhere. I'm having issues.
I'm trying to think, what's some on my DVR that I had set up to record when we got the new system?
I don't know.
7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I'm gonna do it right here. There is a new show starting on Paramount Channel, which was Spike TV, if that's what I remember hearing. I think my mom told me that. And it was Yellowstone and has Kevin Costner in it. So I've seen part of it. I need to go back and actually finish watching that. I got interrupted. And then there's also a new one starting on that channel, American something. So good with names and things, you know, really.
There's a lot of Americans.
But
American
it
Idol,
has,
American Ninja Warrior.
But this one has Alicia Silverstone in it, and it's like a chick movie. Oh, I can't believe I have not mentioned favorite shows as being Sons of Anarchy, Hello, Jax Teller, and Breaking Benjamin. Not Breaking Benjamin, that's
Breaking
music.
Bad.
Breaking Bad. I'm
Breaking
confusing
Benjamin was
all
a
of them.
decent concert, though.
Yes, it was. It was, yeah. I like Shinedown better than I did Breaking Benjamin, but anyway.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, Breaking Bad. Sorry, like other shows popped into my mind. But yeah, there's that new one on Paramount Channel I've got set up to record. So I'll be checking those out because the ads have intrigued me. Oh, Man with a Plan. That's a sitcom we like with Joey. Matt LeBlanc.
Can you think of that awesome TV show that we haven't mentioned that's like hilarious? Life in Pieces.
Oh my gosh. And that has the Tom Hanks son in it.
Yeah. Colin Hanks? I think
Yes.
his name.
Oh my gosh.
It's so funny. It's kind of weird to get used to because it tells it in like 4 separate stories.
Because it's the one family, but then they have like,
They have 3 kids.
so then there's the husband and wife family.
That they've been
And then the
married for
kids
like
each
15
family.
years. Oh, there's the mom and dad.
Yeah.
And then their one daughter has been married for like 15 years ish and has 3 kids. No, longer than that. Her
Her
oldest
son's
is like 18.
married. Well, our son got married.
Yeah. And then there's they have another kid that's the Colin Hanks, and
He's my favorite.
he's like newly married.
No,
and has a
actually, the
baby.
doctor is my favorite.
And then there's their son that is dating and is kind of like a serial bachelor. But it's
He's married now,
oh yeah, he got
and
married.
they're having a baby.
Well, I haven't watched that season. It's not on Hulu yet. Don't tell me things.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. But yeah, remember yeah.
It's so funny. Especially, and I don't remember her name. In New Girl, she's Fawn Moscato.
I haven't seen New Girl, so that doesn't
But,
help me.
Colin Hanks and his wife in the show.
Oh, aren't they
They're-
hilarious?
Well, they are like having a new baby and going through all this stuff, and they're in kind of the same situation as like me, and they make fun of a lot of like the things that happen to new parents. And like there's a breastfeeding lady that comes to like help them, like a lactation consultant.
mhm.
And she says like, well, maybe we should just try the formula. Like, it's not working out today. Like, let's get her something to eat. And this lactation consultant is like, did you use the F word? And like freaking out. And it's just so funny. Like, because I know
It's
so
a
many people
hot
that
topic.
follow
Everybody
that,
has their opinions. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I don't care what anyone does as long as like they don't care what I do.
Well, yeah. To each their
As
own,
long as
but-
we're not like hurting our kids. But me and my husband have watched it together, and we both like out loud are laughing, and there have been moments when we've paused the show because we're laughing and we don't want to miss what's coming next.
Well, I watch it with your dad, and he's laughing out loud, so yeah, he laughs right from his toes. He's pretty funny. And to watch a show with him that's a comedy, I mean, goodness. I can't believe we see Life in Pieces. Man, I do like Man with a Plan, though. It has Matt LeBlanc, and it also has, and I don't know this lady's name. I should learn it. But she was also on a show I liked back in the day with her sister. Yes, dear. She was on there, and she lived with her sister. The sister and
remember that
husband,
show.
and then the other sister and her husband lived out in their guest home. Yeah,
I
and
liked
stuff.
that
But
show.
that's where the wife is. That's where the show I knew her from. So on Man with a Plan, and I like it. And then the mom from Mike and Molly, the mom from that show, she's now on it, and I don't know. Anyway, it's pretty funny. Oh, why do I always forget names when I start talking when we're videoing?
Do you remember them when we're not?
Nealon? What's his name? He's a comedian. He's funny. He was on Saturday Night Live.
There's a lot of funny comedians that have been on Saturday Night Live, Mom.
Anyway, he's his brother on the show. He's funny. So, I like that one as well.
We're kind of all over the place with shows that we like. The comedies, the dramas, the action, mysteries.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else.
You used to watch one of the CSIs, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I watched the original. I made fun of the Vegas because that guy, he was just this one-liner guy, and he drove me crazy. What was his name? He had reddish hair. Oh, he drove me nuts. But I did like the original Vegas. Oh, that was the Florida one that he drove me nuts. It was the original one that I think was in Vegas, and that's the one I liked.
I liked, speaking of Vegas, Las Vegas with Josh Duhamel. I haven't been able to find anywhere to watch that. I've wanted to recently.
I haven't seen the whole thing, but
we
I
used to watch it, like, episodes were on, like, in the middle of the day on some random TV show or TV channel, and we used to watch that all the time.
I had forgot about that show. I think you could put Josh Duhamel in anything and I'd watch it though.
Is Josh Duhamel your Chris Pratt?
No, Chris Hemsworth is my Chris Pratt. But Josh Duhamel's right up there. And Charlie Hunnam, which is Jax Teller.
Another really good show is Timeless. It's on NBC. So they did the first season, and it's like this group of people that they use a time machine to like save now, because there's this like person that stole a time machine from them and is trying to mess up our current life by changing history. So they're trying to keep history like as much the same as they can. which is really interesting because then they end up like in newspapers from back then, and like there are these 3 unidentified people that did stuff that like, and then they just disappear and come back to this timeline.
I just heard your dad's so loud.
But it was canceled after season 1. And fans were so upset that they renewed it for a season 2 after 3 days of fans being mad that it was canceled. And then they did season 2. And then just yesterday, or maybe it was Friday, NBC announced that they're canceling it again.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, do you know what show I just thought of when you said canceled and being brought back? You know?
I don't know.
It has Tim Allen in it.
A Last Man Standing?
That is just hilarious.
Oh, speaking of Last Man
I
and
like
shows being
that.
canceled,
What?
The Last Man on Earth. It had Will Forte in it, and it was so funny, and Fox canceled it when there was only going to
How
be
do
one
you
more
see
season.
all these shows? You're naming things. I'm like, I don't even have a clue. Like, yeah. How do you have time? I don't have time.
Alex and I watch a lot of shows.
Well, I like to watch, like when I'm stitching, I'll turn on shows or I'll turn on Floss Tube or Stitch with Me's. But, I mean, and if your dad's there, it's definitely the TV that, you know, is on. But I'm just feeling like I haven't seen so much just listening to you.
Well, get caught up. I've given you lots of ideas.
So what, okay, so this is kind of in the same thing. What is some of your favorite Netflix? I thought of a show. It's not on Netflix, but remind me. Netflix originals that you're streaming that you've watched.
I really liked 13 Reasons Why, but it was also really difficult to watch.
I have not watched the new season. I watched the original season.
The new
first
season is even more emotional to watch and so difficult. There was one moment in the last episode that I actually turned it off because I was like so
You
disturbed.
Told me about it, and I don't know if I could watch it.
I think the first season at least is really worth maybe not like watching in full, but watching maybe and just talking to people and opening the communication about like.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is communication of suicide and suicide awareness needs to happen.
Yeah.
Don't mean to get on some kind of a preachy bandwagon thing or anything, but I really do. This past year, it affected my son, who's 15. He had a friend, and I won't go into it any more than that, but it's just way too young, and I honestly just, I don't know that since that's happened, it's been too raw, too real for me that I haven't planned on even watching the second one because just emotions, you know?
Yeah.
But
I think this show, I know a lot of people really hated that it was so raw and also thought that it handled everything the wrong way. I thought that it did a great job of just opening the lines of communication.
and that's what needs to happen is just communication.
But it's
We
definitely
like-
not something I'd go back and rewatch or anything.
No,
It's a
mm-mm.
watch once and be
You're
done.
We liked, your dad and I have sat and laughed really hard at Santa Clarita's Diet.
I really want to see that one. I've thought it looks so funny.
It is funny, and it is so gross when because I mean,
She's a zombie, right?
yeah, and she's eating parts, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is gross, but it's hilarious. The things that her husband does to go through to stand by her, I mean,
I have heard, like,
If
about the show
everyone-
that he is the best husband that could
Ever.
exist.
ever, pretty much, if we all had a husband that loved us to the degree that he does, the things that he does, and it's funny. I thought it was great. But
A Netflix original that Alex and I have liked and watched is The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
I fell off that one.
We liked
It's an
it.
awful lot of shows.
We liked the first couple seasons,
That's all I've seen.
and the fourth one came out like last month, and we haven't watched it. It just kind of hasn't really been a priority because it hasn't been like it's kind of gone downhill. But Titus Andromedon is like my spirit animal. He's amazing. Caitlin and I, my best friend all growing up, she's like another sibling in this family pretty much. She and I will just like quote Titus and send gifs of him back and forth, and we use him a lot in our communication.
We liked Ozark. I think it's only got 2 seasons
It has
out.
another season coming out soon, doesn't it?
I
Or
think
did another
so.
one just
I
come
hope.
out?
I haven't seen that it's coming
That
out.
one
I'll
has
have to
Jason
look.
Bateman in it, right?
Yes, and we thought that was really good. And the, but the other one that we've liked and we found it to be absolutely hilarious was The Ranch,
I haven't watched
and
that
it's
one.
Ashton Kutcher. See, I've watched one, you haven't.
I haven't watched Ozark or Santa Clarita Diet, or there are a lot of them that
Oh.
we've talked about, Mom. Or all your
Okay.
old ones.
Yeah, my old ones.
You old people.
But the Ranch is hilarious. This new season that just barely was released here in June 5th or something. It's not as it's funny, but it's not as funny as previous seasons. It's a little more real, a little more raw, a little more serious, and yet I still liked it. So I'm sad. Danny, what's his name? Danny Masterson, I think plays his brother in the show, and with the whole Me Too movement, he's been one of them that's been accused, and so they were terminating his contract. That's sad on multiple levels.
Yeah.
Anyway, that the whole thing has been horrible for
So many
genres, I
people.
think. Yes. I think I just goofed up again. I goof up when I try and stitch and talk.
One of my favorite shows that I haven't brought up is Community. It's a show written and created by Dan Harmon. He's the guy behind like Rick and Morty, which I know a lot of people like. Oh man, this piece of floss is shredded. My husband and I have thoroughly enjoyed Community. I started watching it in like high school, and then it's been canceled from so many different TV channels and stuff. At one point, it was only available on Yahoo Movies.
Oh goodness.
Like,
yeah.
they've worked hard to get it to where it is, and it currently has 6 seasons. But the battle cry for the whole show is 6 seasons in a movie. So I'm really hoping that we get a movie sometime.
Nice. I'm sure there's many, many more that we haven't mentioned. Mention some of your favorites, because that's like when they did that and I said, oh yeah, you've got mail, and like all these others that were commented, it just refreshed my mind on ones that I had forgot about while we were talking. So comment, let us know what your favorites are. Let us know what any other topics you want us to do. Yeah, just any questions you have.
Let us know what you were stitching on too while you were enjoying our time
stitching,
together.
yeah, because I really liked that, hearing other people what they're stitching on.
Yeah.
They're stitching with us.
It makes it a little bit more real because, like, you guys get to listen and stitch with us, but we just kind of sit and talk and stitch with each other.
Well, I do follow several people's stitch alongs.
And I watch a
on
lot of
Floss
those
Tube.
too. But
You know, I have them running while I'm stitching as well.
yeah.
That's why part of why we decided to start the Stitch with Me videos. It's because we enjoyed them ourselves.
That's my
Okay.
progress for the video.
That's my progress, and I hope I haven't goofed up over here or over here too bad. I was having a hard time following the pattern and talking, and so I struggle. The struggle's real.
You can find me on Instagram at littlestitchgirl94.
And you can find me on Instagram as Jamie X Stitch. Thank you for joining with us. Thank you for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing.
And listening to my dad snoring.
And me ramble and forget names and people and oh my goodness. Thank you. We appreciate it.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.